So I just went to the store and we came back, and I spent about 30 minutes with it realigning my body. Um, he's able to like sense through me and can use uh, his infinite mind to sort of get all my entire body aligned. And I've had a misalignment for like since I started training in flow and movement. That's about 20 years. So in that time, I've actually accumulated a bunch more like like nothing is aligned anymore. I had like my shoulder here and my other shoulder here, and my neck was like all over the place. And I was always getting this pain in my neck and back all the time. And I just started to ignore it eventually, and I lost focus of like of what I wanted to do over time. But all that was a result of the pain I was feeling and just ignoring. It just stacks up in your body, and it starts to like keep you down. And if you don't address it, then it will like reach your mind and start to control your thoughts almost. It's a negative emotion in that spot where the pain is. And so when it reaches your head, it becomes a full thought of your experience. It's like a it's like a packet of information. Those little bubbles, right? They get trapped. And then as you move over time, it reaches your head, your ears, and your eyes. And this is attached to your brain. Your body interprets these signals as a negative thought, like a train of thoughts, right? Over time. So what happens is um, what happens is your uh, when you hear these things, you think it's yourself talking, and there is a part of it that is your experience shaping or coloring those thoughts, but it's not really you, right? Because you're not really the negative or the positive. You're like right in the middle. You're the one that measures things or interprets them, right, from the environment. But for these bubbles, it's like a bubble of nothing, right? It's either positive or negative. And so a positive thought or a positive energy bubble can reach your mind and it'll form a positive thought. A negative can reach your mind and it'll form a negative thought. And as we listen to negative thoughts way more than we do positive thinking, right? You go online in the comments, and you read those, and it's negative, negative, negative. Okay, that's nice. Negative, negative, nice. Whatever. It hasn't been like that in a while, but there was a while where it was like that. And this is really stimulating our brain to think negatively. And so we have all this pain that we deal with all the time, and that's really starting to uh, combined with everything else and all the information we're gathering from outside now is starting to overstimulate and overwhelm our minds. And so people are not able to take in anything else, right? Trying to talk to people about all this has been uh, huh. Trying to talk to people about this has been really difficult at first, and I understand, but it's been more difficult because of all the information that people are taking in, and uh, it's like they're on overdrive all the time. And so trying to reach people and be like, hey, there's this cool stuff going on, it doesn't work anymore, right? And so stuff like that, and it just it doesn't it doesn't resonate with people. Things don't resonate with people like they used to, right? So like I don't know, we're just kind of tired, and I see that and I feel that, and I was too for the longest time. I still am sometimes, uh, but it's been a process of like learning how the body works, learning how the mind works, and how you interpret these messages that come these positive or negative energies that come into your mind, right? So when you're having a negative thought, try to remember. I know it's difficult. I know I was trapped in it too. When you're having a negative thought, try to remember that it's not necessarily you. It's okay to have negative thoughts. Sometimes you need them, right? It's not a bad thing. You don't want to get rid of all negativity, but you want to put it in its own bubble, right? And then be able to work around that and see if there's some sort of truth in there. Because there usually is something. It might not be that that person is there as like a good or a bad person. It might be that you had an experience that shaped you to think that this person might be a bad person or a good person, right? We do the same thing to to people, whether they're good or bad. Uh, it's our interpretation of them, right? But it's not necessarily them. So that's the important thing to remember, and that is in that bubble, whether it's negative or positive. That's the truth you have to bring out from the negative and the positive, right? If we had positive all the time, people would be kissing everybody's ass all the time, and that's just we don't want that either. Nobody likes that. So we got to find some sort of happy ground in the middle, right? And that's exactly where we are. We're in the middle of everything, and you know, so I hope that helps some people dealing with negative emotions. I know people are trapped right now, and believe me, I had to do that too. Like that was what the 15 years were for. I've only been doing the magic for maybe 6 months to a year, something like that. I lose track of time. But anyways, the first 15 years I was spent understanding. I spent going through this overthinking within overthinking. Like I would have racing thoughts, and within that I would grab onto something else and then start racing about that. And it went on for years, you know. And I was trying to live my life like this, and it was a mess. And so it wasn't until recently I finally got out of it, and with the help of the gods and God, you know, it's kind of all the same. But with the help of outside entities, you know, and it's been really really helpful. And so now I get to come back and show people what I've learned and introduce them to the process. And you know, it's a little scary at first. Believe me, I know I was scared that whole 15 years all this stuff was going on. But the reason it was like that was because I they knew what was coming. They knew that this was coming and that I was going to have this moment and understand all of um, the the experience that I was going through as sort of a learning experience in total. And so they were just joking around with me and having a good time the whole time, you know. And I was sitting there taking everything so seriously, and it really wasn't that serious, you know. Like it's like, why are we getting so worked up about little stuff, you know, all the time? And you know, we get so worked up about it, we don't ever stop to think, why do we get so worked up about these things? So, you know, maybe just stop and think. It's okay to think. Overthinking, though, it can be dangerous, right? You want to understand that there's different types of thinking. It's not just overthinking or thinking. It's not just thinking, right? It's fast thinking, quick thinking, and efficient thinking. And there's all sorts of thinking, right? It's a spectrum also. So I hope that helps. You know, good luck, everybody. I'll try to keep updating videos, and I mean, they're ready to show themselves and reveal themselves. So we'll see how it goes.